All right, hey, thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate you taking some time out of your planning and whatever time you might use for grading and other activities. We're really grateful you're here. We're going to continue our series on student engagement. We've got some interesting ideas and strategies for you to use, some hands-on activities, some things to get the students out of their seats. So Ms. Parker's going to start us off with elementary school. Ms. Stern's going to continue with middle school. And I'm going to close this out with high school. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Okay, elementary school English. Spelling strategies. I will be discussing spelling strategies. By mastering key elementary spelling words early, elementary students can achieve success and build confidence. Many common elementary spelling words contain silent consonants, irregular vowels, or other tricky spellings. Students often need a little extra practice spelling words. Spelling counts. Everything you write as part of your job or in your personal life is a spelling test. Spelling is a way to communicate ideas or thoughts. Okay. Now we're going into common misspelled words. Okay. Can you identify any common mistakes? Can everyone take a look at the smart board, and can you raise a quiet hand if you can identify some common mistakes? Ms. Holderman?
Brian misspelled incorrectly. The vowels are reversed.
Yes, the vowels are reversed. Should be F-R-I-E-N-D. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Mr. Hodges? Say it again, I'm sorry.
Indefinite.
Okay. Good job. Definite. The I should be before the N. Anyone else? Okay, Ms. Price?
So for getting a double consonant, the double M in communicate.
Okay, very good. The double N, C-O-M-M-U-N-I-C-A-T-E should be communicate. Anyone else? Okay, Ms. Green?
Matches.
Okay, very good. Matches.
Matches.
Okay, you are correct. Also, a lot of times, some people may get T-O-O confused with T-O or T-W-O. Okay, T-O-O means also. T-O means you're going to a place. T-W-O, of course, we all know is the number 2. Okay. Now, it's Play-Doh time. Everyone has Play-Doh. Okay. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to use to make a word, okay? A common misspelled word, okay? You're going to use Play-Doh. Raise a quiet hand if you need Play-Doh. A common misspelled word.
So they can make any word they want.
Yes.
That's usually misspelled.
Yes. Does anyone need Play-Doh?
It's been unopened and not touched.
Anyone? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Spelling the word.
A common misspelled word. Yes. Yes.
Make sure we spell appropriate words, please. Ms. Holderman?
Yes.
No
Yes.
skill. We don't need that.
Huh?
Spelling a word.
A common misspelled word. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
I like this.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. That's a good one, believe. Yes. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, 1 more minute. Nice.
Appreciate it.
There.
And you hit the misspell though, right? You misspell it?
See, Ms. McDonald did it right. But I hope you can go right. You're going to pick the word.
Okay, we can stop. Okay, can I get someone to raise a quiet hand to share a common misspelled word? Miss Price.
I spell there as in They apostrophe re, meaning they are, just often confused with the 2 other theirs. Their, Their.
Okay, good job. Anyone else? Okay, Miss McDonald.
There, Their is usually misspelled with There.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Oh, Miss. Yes, ma'am.
Receipt.
Mm-hmm.
RECEIT. PT. Right?
PT. Yes,
I
ma'am.
haven't
Good
finished.
job, Miss
finished
Banks. It's okay. Okay. Yes, Mr. Elmore.
Believe, because a lot of times they reverse that I-N-E.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, guys. All right. Thank you. Good job. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. These are my reasons why I selected Play-Doh. Because using Play-Doh to practice spelling words, it provides a lot of student engagement. It provides enjoyable experiences for young students. Also, it's a fun activity, hands-on, active learning experience. It supports students' growth. And in addition, it practices letter formation. Okay, spelling activities. Here I have listed a few spelling activities that you may want to consider using in your classroom. Okay, unscrambled words, Play-Doh words, shaving cream words, bingo, hangman, or finding words in newspapers or magazines. Okay, does anyone have any questions for me? Nice. Thank you guys for your attention. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tooley. Oh, Ms. Stern.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out to our professional development. I am particularly working on middle school English, and here at CSEP we know that for our 7th and 8th graders we teach Read 180. How many of you in the classroom are Read 180 teachers? Or are part of Read 180 in any way, shape, or form? Alright, we know that with Read 180, we're using Read 180 here at CSEP because most of our students do not read on grade level. A lot of our students are below grade level, and this particular program has shown that when it's used and taught effectively, students' reading can increase. Students take a Scholastic Reading Inventory assessment to see what their Lexile score is, and since being here, I know myself and Mr. Marin Rodriguez, you just started, but myself and Mr. Marin have had multiple students increase in their Lexile score since the beginning of the year. So we can see how effective this program is, and that is the progress that we want. We want our students to at least increase within 100 points of their Lexile between September and between September and June. So, rotations. Our class time is an hour and a half for this English. We have 20 minutes of whole group when we first get to class. Students are set up and sitting within a small group, but we run things with 20 minutes worth of whole group with activities. Then we have 20 minutes worth of independent reading, 20 minutes worth of small group, and 20 minutes worth of computer software. And at the end, we do a 10-minute whole group wrap-up. So, during whole group, teachers use their R books, which is what our textbook is called, is an R book, to present information that is going to be read and learned to the students as an entire class. These types of things that it includes are vocabulary, different reading techniques, and respond and writes, or making inferences on what is read. The next rotation would be independent reading. Students read a book independently. It must be within 100 points of the student's Lexile score. So for example, if a student's Lexile score is 535, that student can read a book with a Lexile score of no lower than 435 and no higher than 635. We do that so that students aren't reading below their Lexile score, too far below their Lexile score, because if they're doing that, we know that they're not engaged effectively and they are not learning new words or ways of figuring out what a word in a sentence may mean. And then they read for 15 minutes and complete a reading log. While reading, they must complete vocabulary logs, chapter summaries, and related paperwork. I will get into the related paperwork when I go into my project. And then when students are done with a book, he or she must complete a book project. So in small group, students will revisit the text that he or she was reading in the whole group, and then students will complete activities based on the reading in their R book. Some of these activities deal with summaries. It asks you to find a theme of the reading. It may also differentiate instruction based on your students. A lot of times our students are grouped within their Lexile scores. So the people who are reading on a lower Lexile score are particularly grouped with those lower Lexile scores versus the students reading on higher Lexiles. All right, and our computer software. This is an independent, computerized, differentiated instruction. Nobody in the class knows what the students are doing on their computer except for teachers and the reading specialists. So there are 5 zones within the station, and the students must complete one zone in order to go on to the next. The 5 zones involve reading, word, spelling, success, and writing, and the zones show students' progress within the software. Students should be on the computer for at least 17 minutes a day. In the 17-minute club, students have to be on the computer for 17 minutes a day, 4 times a week to make their week. And at the end, we do an incentive here. We try and have a party with the kids who are making this progress during the 9 weeks. For example, the first 9 weeks we did, if they had progress for 4 weeks, if they stayed on for 17 minutes for 4 weeks. And then the second 9 weeks was if they stayed on 4 times a week for 5 weeks. The third 9 weeks we're doing 6, and then the last 9 weeks we're going to try and finish up the year strong and do 7. So, wrap up whole group. The students go back to their desks, and this is where students are asked questions about readings in class that day. Teachers also introduce books to students during this time, or may read a few pages out of a book to get students interested in reading. So an example of an independent reading project. I just pulled one out quick and read a book called The Escape. It's a level 1. The Lexile score is a 310. And I'll be honest, my 7th graders at the beginning of the year, this was a book that they should have been reading because a lot of them were in the 200s or the lower 300s. We didn't have many students above 400. So they would do their paperwork on the book. As they are reading, the escape guide shows different things that the student would fill out based on the reading. And then when you are all finished with your paperwork, you make a project. So I just made a quick poster that shows the escape with the different things that this book talks about. It was written by J.B. Stamper, and There was a gentleman by the name of Boris who was committed a crime 7 years prior to the book being written, and he'd been in jail. So he's basically trying to find his way out. He dug in a hollow tunnel and tried to get out. When he got to the end, there was a skeleton and nothing but rats, so he did not escape the jail like he had planned. So, does anyone have any questions on how Read 180 works? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tooley for high school.
All right, I hope my hair looks okay. All right, high school English. So I thought it would be a pretty easy way for us to work with English. We saw how in elementary school we're learning to spell, and spelling relates to reading, which relates to what Miss Stern did in terms of Read 180 and how important that is. Well, when kids get to high school, as they get to high school, they're going to be looking at drum. And one of the pieces of literature that most of us have heard of is, of course, Romeo and Juliet, right? Anybody particularly fond of Romeo and Juliet? Or is it like, I've seen that or read that so many times, I'm done with it? That's kind of how it is? Okay. Well, then you'll be really excited since that's what we're doing. So think for yourself for a minute and see if you can identify the 6 elements of a story. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a timer. I'm going to set the timer on my phone for 1 minute. And I'm going to give you a second to see if you can think of the 6 basic elements of a story. You can write them down if you'd like. I have some paper here if you'd like to write them down. These will probably come in handy later. Don't try to talk about it with the partner. You're supposed to think about yourself for right now. Miss McDonald's. No, it's okay. Okay, I can hear Mr. Rodriguez in the right direction. So, what are the basic elements of a plot? If we're looking at a plot line, what are the basic elements of a plot? If we're looking at the elements of a story in a plot line, what is it? What are some things that you guys came up with? Okay, let's try to get them in order. Who thinks they know the first one? Okay? Exposition. Okay, exposition is one of those. What's another word for exposition? Kind of an introduction, right? Okay, so it's an easy way. A little easier way to say it. We're not all as fancy as you, Miss Price, but thank you. Good job. Okay, what might be the next step? Anybody else have another? What? A problem? Or in other words, can anybody think of another word for problem? That's exactly right. There's a conflict, there's a setting event, right? Okay. So you'll have the setting event. You're going to have each of those. So what I'd like you to do is, since we kind of know those, we're going to have the introduction, we're going to have the setting event, we're going to have rising action, climax, falling action, and then conclusion. So those are the 6. So what I'd like you to do is take some time and work with the shoulder partner and try to recall some of the important events from Romeo and Juliet. You can use the papers that I gave you. If you need something to write with, let me know. I'll give you something to write with. You can use that if you want. Okay. I'm in. Appreciate you staying. Oh, you guys carpool?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. It's all right. Do you guys need something to write with? Pick a color.
Blue.
Blue is for you?
I don't know, I know they decided they'd rather like die together.
Then
You guys need something to write with?
Right.
Got one? Okay, good. Mr. Macklin, do you want to go work with Mr. Marin? So write down each of the events you come up with. Write them down on one of the sticky note papers.
They know.
It's okay. You don't have to write. You can have somebody else write. It's okay. You don't have to be the writer for the group. It's fine.
The problem that arises is
And then Romeo kills the other guy and then gets banished. And then there's the whole plot of act like you're dead, but you're not really dead. But he doesn't get the message and comes back. So
kills himself.
yeah.
You guys are so morbid. You talk about people killing themselves?
He just gets straight to the point.
There are. All right. Hey, so here's what I'd like you to do now. I'd like you guys to all take the ideas you came up with and come and put them over here on this desk and sort them out and see if you could put them in the order and what you think they relate to in terms of introduction, setting event, rising action, climax, falling action, and conclusion. So everybody can go over and work together. Let me get you guys a little bit more space.
We're good.
Trying to give them a chance to move around. So if you need them, I have the headings up on front on the board, the headings you guys came up with earlier for the 6 basic parts of a plot.
Well, I mean, Captain Montague. I mean, the fight is throughout
Well, yeah,
the story.
yeah. I mean, the main one.
But
was,
the main conflict is that those two
back and forth.
families
Something
are
that's wrong,
warring.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Their families can't be together. Because their families don't like each other.
And the climax, that's the most
So they
exciting.
decide to kill each other, right?
They tried to kill each other?
Or each, they decide to kill themselves.
Oh, Romeo and Juliet.
Okay. I was going to say, she must really not like the story. She's trying to get them to kill each other.
Which is the family.
The funny thing is Shakespeare actually wrote this in mockery of teen love.
I know. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though, isn't it? And the same basic thing still goes on today. I mean, we see it in our classrooms, right? The kids start fussing over this boyfriend and that girlfriend, and this person said that about that person. Not that we, had a fight in my classroom today over something that probably related to that.
We have 5 parts.
Okay. All right, so you guys got 5 parts. What'd you guys find?
This is the last ending.
I don't
Kill
remember who
themselves.
does, I don't know who does it first. But this is like, doesn't something happen in between when they plot to kill each other and when it actually happens? I can't remember what
They
happens.
can't be together.
Well, they wanted to get married, but there was the fight between Romeo
I know all that,
and
but
the other guy,
I thought that
and he
it's
gets
something-
banished, and then, I mean, there's the whole banishment
I don't remember the banishment part.
Yeah, he gets banished,
I
and then
thought
the
at the
father
end that
is
someone
trying to
like
get
changed their
messages
mind
to
and then
him.
it was too late or something
It's
like
pretty
that.
good.
I can't remember.
It's pretty good. All right, so hey, let's take a look at what you guys got, and let's do a little comparison. Okay, so what I asked you to do is just kind of check yourself to see if you basically understood the idea. Okay, we wanted to see if you really understood what was going on and see if you really got the overall idea of Romeo and Juliet. So let's check the basic concept of the story. So Romeo and Juliet, here's how the lovers go down. This is pretty nice, I found this. It's a really nice way to phrase it, right? How the lovers go down. So there's the duel at the beginning of it. The Montagues and the Capulets have a duel. At the end, Verona's prince, who's basically the police officer, comes along and he says, look, the next people who fight, they're going to die. That's it. We're not going to continue to have this going on. It's not okay. Well, Romeo and his guys, they decide that they want to go ahead and crash the Capulet dance because, of course, Romeo is a Montague. And they want to get with Rosaline, but he actually ends up meeting somebody else. We all know the story. It's Juliet. So after that, Romeo and Juliet, what happens? They end up falling in love at first sight, whatever. And he sneaks onto her property. And there's the Romeo, wherefore at the Romeo balcony scene that everybody knows and loves. And then they go and they secretly decide to marry each other with the help of Friar Lawrence. From there, there's a fight between Tybalt and Mercutio, and they want to fight it out. Romeo gets in the middle of it, and he actually ends up killing Tybalt. So Juliet ends up being sad because Romeo's killed her cousin. So her dad says, well, to make you happy, you should just go ahead and marry Paris, which was the other guy. As a result, she doesn't want to do that. So to avoid marrying him, she goes, talks to the friar, and they come up with a plan, and she takes a sleeping potion. When Romeo comes along, Romeo finds out that Juliet supposedly killed herself, and he does what? He kills himself. She wakes up and is like, oh no. And it's like something out of a Monty Python movie. Right? The Suicide Squad comes in. Oh no, it's a suicide. Ah! It's not good. Okay? So, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay? I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and act up. I want to see you guys, if you can pick a side between the Montagues and the Capulets. You can come up and take a look at some of the characters that are up here and pick out a character who you think you would most like to be. This is where you actually get out of your seats. Yes, I know, tough concept, getting out of your seats. You'll be Juliet? Come on, Mr. Marin, you can do it. All right, so if you've got a character picked out that you're interested in, huh?
What does that mean?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Did you pick, everybody pick out a character yet? You got to pick out one character. That's it. Yep. You got to pick out one character. All right, now, if you're not sure of who you want to be, okay, what you can do is you can come up and take a better look. It gives a little bit more of an explanation of who they are. And then what I have on here is I want you to write your name next to the character. And of course my internet board is acting up right now.
We're writing our own name.
My board's not working right now for some reason. Yeah, we can use sticky notes, that's fine. Okay. All right, so here's what I want you to do. You can take it. No, my board's not working. So if you want to write your name of your character on one of the sticky notes, have some, well, they're not quite as sticky as they should be, I guess. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. All right, once you have your character, just hold up so I can see who you are. Okay, you have Lady Montague. You have Juliet. You're going to be Friar Lawrence? All right. Hope you're going to be the nurse? That'll be good. That'll be great. All right, who you got?
That was Benvolio.
Benvolio?
I guess apothecary. Still in the role.
You're going to be... That's right on here. All right. Okay, so apparently... Oh, you Romeo? Oh. All right, Romeo. Since you are our resident stud. All right. We're going to start off, and there's going to be a battle, a fight. So we looked at our previous slide. Hold on. Oh, of course, now it wants to come up. Why is that not? Hold on a second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's what you do. These are all freshly washed, I promise. I have colors for you based upon the side that you picked. Oop. They were all really freshly washed, I promise. Okay, so pick a color based upon the side that you picked.
Where's the colors?
Okay, the Montagues are blue and the Capulets are red. If you're nothing in particular, if you're Friar Lawrence, then you can go ahead from there. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a brief replay of Romeo and Juliet themed to everybody's favorite, Michael Jackson. Okay? It's okay. I'm gonna show the part of the storyline, and then I'm going to play some music in correspondence with that. All right. Okay, so there's a duel. There's going to be the Montagues and the Capulets are going to start fighting. So Romeo, this is where you step in, and you have to fight somebody. And since we don't have enough people, I will be the opposing side. All right, and then the prince steps in. Stop it! The next person who fights will die. I don't know if you should dance anymore. That's probably not a good idea. All right. So he tells them to beat it. And so the next thing we go on to is the setting event. And at this point, Romeo and Juliet meet up. And they see each other. And it's love at first sight. Woo! You can see the sparks flying. All right, so they're going to remember this. Oh my goodness, Mr. Elmore.
It's a masquerade ball.
It is. That's a great mask. Nice job. So they meet, and they're going to remember this for forever because it's really important for them. Well, the next thing is Romeo falls for Juliet, and they're going to arrange with Friar Lawrence. They're going to arrange a secret wedding. Okay, so you guys have arranged a secret wedding? Juliet, you have to be more excited than that. Come on now. All right, so they arrange a secret wedding. And then, however, there's going to be a fight between Tybalt and Mercutio. Mr. Marin's going to play Mercutio. You're too excited to kill somebody, Mr. Marin. So Tybalt and Mercutio face off against one another. And then all of a sudden, Romeo comes and jumps in, and he ends up killing So he kills Tybalt. Tybalt dies, and apparently everybody's really upset because they're all screaming right now. Okay? Is that screaming? That's some screaming. All right. So what happens is Juliet is upset. Juliet's really, really sad, and she's so sad that her dad says, "Hey, it's okay. You can marry Paris. Don't worry about that." And she's not really excited about that. She's really not that excited at all.
I'm not married, Paris.
So her opinion is kind of like, they don't really care about us because they're not concerned about me and Romeo. And so she goes in this huge tirade and is really upset. But she arranges a plan with Friar Lawrence. All right, so.
This is a plan to be together.
Yes, you and your boo. Or bae. Bae, sorry, your bae. So, what happens is that she goes and she talks to Friar Lawrence and comes up with the idea to take the potion. So she's going to go to Friar Lawrence over here. So she's upset. So what she does is she takes the potion and she falls asleep. And of course, now Romeo finds out about this, and he thinks that she's out of his life, and he's really, really sad about it. And he's crying. He's so unbelievably sad that he just cannot contain himself. So he sings a nice long ballad about it, which we won't portray.
Oh, Juliet, you were the love of my life.
Oh my goodness. Great job, Romeo. All right. When he finds out, he ends up killing himself. Juliet, of course, wakes up and finds out that he actually killed himself, and she does the same. She almost got stabbed. In the end, both the families end up coming together, and they end up looking at the whole situation and saying, I need to have some type of conclusion to this that's better than what we already have going on. So they look at the man in the mirror, and they find a way to try and work together and make things better for Fair Verona. All right, good job, guys. Thanks so much. All right, does anybody have any questions about Romeo and Juliet? Any closing thoughts about what we looked at with regards to that? You can use the timer strategy in your classroom, setting the timer on your phone. Feel free to bring in some things to give your students a chance to maybe act out some things if you're doing a war in your class or things like that for history. You might be able to use this in that situation. It's really hard sometimes to engage our students. I understand it. I was working on it. Fourth block, the end of the day is always tough. They've already got lunch. Maybe they've already went to PE. And so we know that that's difficult. But if we could find some ways to kind of get them out of their seats and get them to engage in the learning in ways that are a little more active than we maybe have been used to, I think it could actually really help them to not forget the material. I mean, nobody's going to forget Mr. Elmore falling on the floor as Romeo today. I didn't expect you to do that. Or his ballad. His ballad, I don't know. Actually, we all probably want to forget the ballad. So we want to look for some ways for our students to compare things. You guys came up with the 6 elements that you saw in Romeo and Juliet, and you put them in an order. But I maybe had a little different order in how I interpreted it. And so you might choose to give them the wrong information and see if they could pick up on that and get them to compare it with what you had. It's really hard sometimes, but do the best you can. We appreciate the struggle. We're in here with you guys. Thank you so much for all your attention. We know it's hard to get them involved, but if we could teach them something that no one else has, then we've really accomplished something. So thanks for your time, guys. We'll give you a sheet to make sure you put your names on, and we're all done from there. Thanks.